Practice plan for Tuesday looks like it's going to remain in effect for the for now.
If we're still in it, it's a good sign.
Right. That means you're winning, right?
Yeah.
Was that kind of how you're going to play this? I mean, is there a little superstition involved here?
Yeah, but not all superstitious, because I just felt like we were fresher.
Right.
Just feel like, that, and Coach Judge, like I said, and I had some discussions when he was in, with the Patriots, and just different things about how guys practice. When are their hard days? When are their easier days? When are their pads? And I think everybody's trying to figure it out. Some guy, in the bowl game, we went pads every day. Sometimes Keenan's year, we took off our pads for a lot of days, depending on the team. And just, I just felt like we were fresher, I mean, just for a short week, playing Memphis after traveling from Hawaii, I don't know, just might have felt like we've stumbled onto something and played okay last week. Physically, it was our problem last week was mentally.
Right.
But, we're going to continue with it right now, right?
Right. Talk some injuries. Sean Williams sat out against Lehigh. Do you think you might get him back for SMU?
He's on track right now. He's on,
right now. I saw him
practicing.
practicing.
He's on, concussion protocol, and so right now he's, tracking good.
Right. The two tackles, Kendall and Jake. Do you think one of them might get back?
They both practiced today and full speed today, and watching them, they look like they're moving around decent. So right now, those guys both look up to.
While I'm on that note, what can you say about Ford Higgins? The guy got player of the game playing center against Memphis. Then he came and played tackle and got player of the game for playing tackle. I mean, what a versatile kid, huh?
He's not the biggest kid, but he's the temperament that we're looking for. He's playing at the speed and the pace that we're looking for, and he's kind of a bell cow. It's the reason we have him at center. We want everybody to play at if every offensive lineman plays at his speed, we'll have a good line.
Right. Pistorio, he's now missed 2 games. Do you think you might get him back anytime soon?
Still no.
No.
So we'll just wait to see when that comes back.
And I've gone brain dead, but there's a cornerback, a sophomore cornerback that's missed a couple games.
Marcus Wiggins, and he's coming back running. So he's back on. I don't know if it'll be this week, but he's making progress.
Right. Malcolm has now 3 200-yard rushing games. He's 2 shy of the school record. Chris McCoy, you remember him, had 5 in his whole career. Malcolm potentially could have another 23 games, I think I counted up, for his career. So he might get that record. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, he's rushed for 1,000-some yards and 6 starts at quarterback, which translated over a whole season, that's 2,000+ yards.
Yeah, I gotta stop myself because I wasn't happy with some of the things that happened Saturday. And you look, you rushed for 200-something yards and 3 touchdowns, and I was looking at more of the passes that he missed. But what he's done, I mean, he's done some remarkable things. I mean, amazing.
One of the things, and I'm trying to remember who it was in the press conference that mentioned this, but it was one of the, maybe I think it was C.J. Williams. He's kind of hard to block for because he goes so all over the place. You never know where he's going next. Like, guys will block this way, but then Malcolm's over there. Is that something? I don't know if you want to teach that. You don't want to teach, but maybe he does need to learn how to follow his blocks instead of. No.
Good runners. And you don't mess with them. You don't tell good runners where to run.
Right.
You might give them some guidelines, but you let them use their vision.
Right. Nobody told Barry Sanders.
Yeah. You look at any good running back, and they had a coach. We had a good coach because the coach was like, just told him to use his eyes and play with vision. Everybody else needs to just, continue to keep blocking. Now there's sometimes, there's some general stuff you want to stretch or cut up in this area. But ultimately, you got to be a ball carrier.
Well, in the open field, I think it actually is the guys are just blocking whoever they can block. Malcolm will figure it out.
Yeah, they just got to keep running. He'll dodge in and out of people. They just got to keep running.
So this defensive coordinator from SMU, he was previously at Northern Illinois. I'm going to guess he had never faced an option team. Have you found any history in which he's faced an option team, or is this a blank slate as far as no clue what this guy might do as far as lining up?
Yeah, I mean, he played when he was at Northern Illinois. They played Army.
Okay.
And so, but he wasn't the coordinator. But so you kind of look at that stuff. I mean, but we do this all the time.
Right.
You look at the coordinator.
It's a guessing game,
you
right?
look at their history and see where they've been, if they played in option teams, whether he was a coordinator on the staff, and you just try to guess. But there's only so many ways you can line up, and we've been doing this close to 30 years, so we've pretty much seen everything.
All right, so more than likely you just wait, see what happens on Saturday, and go from there.
Just go from there. I mean, we always have game plans, And then we kind of get there, oh, they're not doing that, you just throw it out, and we just attack from there.
Right. Dallas is a great recruiting territory for you. Will you do anything while you're there on this trip? Is Euclides still doing Dallas?
Yes.
Will you send Mick out there early, or is there any?
The majority of our staff will be out.
They'll try to hit the high schools?
Well, just the whole area, not just Dallas, but Texas, surrounding area. We'll be there. Well, Texas is a big
right.
state.
But do you mean during this trip? Will you try
Yes.
to do something during this trip?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll all go. I mean, quite a few of our coaches are going out on the road.
So playing SMU every year now, I mean, like you said, Dallas has always been a big recruiting area long before you even. But now that you're playing them every year, this has got to help, I would imagine. The kids, you can tell kids are going to be back here at least twice during their career.
Yeah, and not just Dallas, but the whole Texas area. That's a big part of our recruiting spill, that we'll be back, twice. So it definitely has been good for us, and Coach Euclides has done a good job in that area also.
How did it feel to get the first career pick?
Oh, it felt great. It was good to finally get one in a game. I've been doing well in practice getting the ball, so it was good to see that finally happen in a game. And I got to give a shout out to Josh Webb, because he actually got his hand on that ball and tipped it on the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
if you look closely at the film, Josh Webb got a hand on that ball, and that's why I was able to get that pick, a little redemption. So
what, was the zone or man-to-man coverage? I mean, you really broke on the ball and stepped in front of a receiver. I don't know if that was your guy you were covering, or if it was a zone look and you just saw the opening.
That was a zone look, so I was playing in between the two guys with my eyes on the quarterback, and broke when I saw it thrown, and then the tip gave it a little extra time in the air, and it bounced off him in a way that I was lucky enough to be there.
Right. So I was going to ask, I was talking to Coach Sykes the other day, how's this new group of strikers coming along? I mean, he seemed pretty pleased with the progress that you and Fachman, and even when Walt Little gets a big fumble, forced fumble and recovery. I hope you gave him a little props too.
I think it was great in the game this week, being able to be up by so much that we really got to see everybody play in a game for the first time. I mean, Falk's been doing great all season, and now you can see what Walt can do with that big strip he made. That was an awesome play. And at the end, when ATL was playing a lot too, he had a nice pass breakup in the end zone. I think that was a great opportunity to show that all of us can play when given the opportunity.
ATL would be Austin Talbot.
Austin Talbot-Levin, yeah.
That's right. Do you have confidence that you can play 100 miles an hour knowing that you got a guy that can, I think there's some depth now, and you don't have to worry about trying to be out there every snap.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that will make us as a position group be so good, is we know that every one of us can go 100 miles per hour every play. You don't have to hold anything back, because as soon as you need a blow, just look to the sideline, and the next guy up is going to be able to play just as well as you. C.J.
Williams, who is stepping up as a sophomore, and what can you say about this young man? We talked in preseason, and you thought he could contribute, and lo and behold, he is.
Yeah, he's a great player. CJ is a kid that has just a great attitude overall. He's a kid that is a hard worker, intelligent football player, has a high learning curve, and really just one of those guys that's kind of contagious. Guys want to be around him because he works hard and does things that he's supposed to do. And so, really pleased with CJ. He's earned time on the field, and with that time, he's earned more time. And so it's been fun to watch him develop.
So obviously last year he played JV games, and we just talked with Coach O'Rourke. He was a slot receiver in high school, so we had to learn what it meant to be a slot back here. But what has he done to make a big jump from last year, where he's a JV scout team guy, to this year where he's contributing on the varsity?
I think it just goes to show his character. He's a young man that's very competitive and wants to be on the field, and he's put in the time and the effort off the field to learn the plays, learn the system. Kind of adapt to what we do as a slot back here compared to what he was doing before, and because of the dedication and character that he has, it's worked out really well, so that now he's ready to go contribute, and it's been fun to watch him, to see how he's developed that way.
Right. Obviously, he looks like a natural catching the ball, and when I found out he was a slot receiver, it makes sense. But that's in your offense, he is a nice weapon out there.
Oh, absolutely. Our slots are required to catch the ball. Whether it's down the field, pitches, they have to have good hands, and part of that is just training. And he's had phenomenal training as a slot receiver in high school, and he has the toughness to play the position that we play. And that's the thing at A-back, is you gotta have a tough mentality. You gotta have that inner ability to just fight through everything, pain, defenses, whatever it is, and just become better and better each day, and that's something that he has.
He told me that in his offense in high school, he did a lot of blocking. That's why it wasn't foreign to him. When he got here, he really had no problem. Did you sense that when you first started coaching him in the spring, that this guy seemed to understand and know what to do blocking?
Yeah, when I first started coaching him, he had come a long way, and obviously Coach O'Rourke did a great job recruiting him, getting him here, and teaching the basic fundamentals to start with. And so, you know, it wasn't like I was molding a piece of raw clay. He
Yeah,
really
right.
had some. I mean, he's just a talented young man that loves the game of football, and so he's really been a pleasure to coach and work with because of that. He just has that desire to be out here and loves the game.
He was a slot receiver at his high school, which, you know, they're apparently a pretty good program. They won a state championship. What? First of all, big time, pretty big.
Huge program, top 5 team in the state, year in and year out. You know, it's a new school. It's probably 8-10 years old, and they've already won a state championship, played for it. You know, perennially they're one of the best teams in the state of Texas. So know the area well, know the coaches there really well. So you know, when they told me they have a guy for us, I was excited. So.
Right. So he had mentioned that. I mean, he visited Columbia and Harvard. You said you got a call back from the coach.
Right.
What changed?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I know he. I mean, honestly, I think he just wanted a chance to play big time, you know, Division I football. He wanted to play, you know, the Notre Dames and the, you know, the schedule that we play, the conference that we play in. He wanted to, you know, push himself, you know, to be better. You know, that's why a lot of these kids do this. You know, sometimes they'll have some smaller offers or you know, things that they think, you know, it's not arrogant, but they want to push themselves at a higher level. You know, this place academically is the highest as you can get, and athletically we play at the highest level. So what better place to, you know, push yourself, you know, on both fronts. Which that's why our kids play the way they do. That's why they're motivated the way they are and all that. So we just got a group full of guys that, you know, want to push themselves and be better than they are. So excited he's here.
So I started to say he was a slot receiver in high school. Having coached the slots here, do you find that slot receivers at the high school level make good slot backs here at Navy?
Yeah, I think, you know, just the nature of what people are doing on offense. You know, a lot of people are in 4 wide receivers throwing it around. You know, there's some teams that line up and run, you know, double slot option and that kind of stuff. But you got to kind of project. I mean, a kid that can run. I mean, you watch his tape. He was a punt returner. He was a kick returner. He could run. He could catch. You know, he'd never gone in tail motion before and played A-back, but you got to say, well, if he can do all that, we can teach him how to catch a pitch and run. You know, so the thing that's been pretty cool with him is he's a better blocker than I thought he would be. You know, I thought he'd be a good blocker, but he's a really, really good blocker. You know, he's not scared of contact. He throws his body around. And I just think he likes to compete. He's really, really quiet. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, I interviewed him briefly today. Yeah.
Extremely quiet, extremely humble. But he's very confident in his abilities too, which is good. You know, he's not arrogant. But you saw last week he played really well, and I think he expects that of himself, and we do too. He's kind of become a guy that you know, that we're going to lean on, you know, to make some big plays for us.